Hello. Alright, peace, my beautiful friend, Aria. So before we get into the, reading and we get serious and I turn off the music and everything, I did want to take a moment, just to communicate with you. First and foremost, I do hope that you're doing good. You know what I'm saying? I hope that life is treating you well. And I have faith, or rather I should say, that regardless, my presence and influence in your life will help bring more light, sunshine, right, into your life. You know what I'm saying? Because I personally believe that we can live in live in like happiness, live in joy, live in peace. Like those are options and choices that we can make. You know what I'm saying? Like life is always going to test us. We're always going to go through trials and tribulations. But our willpower, you know what I'm saying? It's important that, and I'm glad I bring up willpower because we are going to be talking about your sun, your moon, your Mercury, your Jupiter, etc. We're going to talk about the first 7 planets. You know what I'm saying? Which is 2 hours, which is going to cover both sessions. Right, but your willpower or your sun. So I want to share with you an allegory real quick. You know those stories about the princess who is in distress and she is in a tower, up above and away from the ground, and her tormentor is a dragon, right? And she needs saving from prince. That story, I guess, structure is found in a lot of different places, but that's an allegory, or the original allegory to that story deals with the soul and it's traveled through the physical world. So the dragons have higher symbolisms, but a dragon typically is also used to signify the harsh, corrosive natures of this world. You know what I'm saying? That's why dragons are associated with the 4 elements: fire, water, earth, and air. And that's why they're very scaly, very reptilian-like, you know what I'm saying? So the girl who's up in the tower is the soul, right? The soul is feminine. That's why it's signified by a woman. The soul is on a higher plane. That's why it's on top. But then the the prince who must come and slay the dragon is the ego. Now, this is your moon. All right, so the moon would be like the girl, right? But then the ego would be like the sun. And that's what we're going to get into. And then the dragon is Saturn, you know what I'm saying? So I want you to understand and comprehend astrology from this perspective, because when you understand it and comprehend it from this perspective, the perspective that I'm going to be sharing with you, we'll get into it, it's more empowering, and it no longer becomes what's that word? A prophecy that you are having to fulfill. Because people associate astrology and the stars with destiny and faith and things like that. Like, it was written in the stars, it's in my birth chart, it's inevitable. But I'm here to shed true light upon that false light, you know what I'm saying? Because that's not true. And once upon a time, we used astrology in correlation with alchemy to transform and transcend our limitations, and that's what I'm bringing to this world. And I've gone through lots of experiences that have helped me integrate, my awareness and knowledge. So I'm definitely in a different place of understanding and conviction of what I know. I've helped people in my real life, and I think that's where a lot of the transformation came from. Like, Pluto is in my 5th house right now, and that's a deep thing in of itself. But the transformation came from the fact that I've been working with people in my real life and helping them heal, using my abilities and my skills of astrology to actually help people in my real life heal. And just being able to see the amount of change that I'm helping them gain was enough to make me... I don't want to talk about my background per se, but I'll just say this. Growing up, there was a lot of self-doubt instilled within me by my father, right? I was always told that I was lying to people, you know what I'm saying? Like what I do is a lie. Just all negative, bad things that were, and I kept persevering and pushing and rebelling essentially because I know how important this is. But so yeah, those are certain traumas and wounds that I have to heal with, heal with, and I'm still healing with. You know what I'm saying? Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Now, without further ado, let's definitely jump into your reading. Right? Let's get it. I apologize for the dirty case, but it's all gravy. Now, in a minute, my friend, he will be coming through that door. He'll probably be like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry," but you know what? Let me just message him because he's always like apologetic when he interrupts. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so yeah, we are going to be talking about your sun, your moon, your Mercury, and your Venus. Sun, moon, Mercury, sun, moon. Typically, sun, moon, and Mercury. Okay, sun, moon, Mercury, and Venus. Typically, it's sun, moon, Mercury, and Venus in the first session, and in the next session, we cover the rest of the planets. Sun, moon, my bad. Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. You know what I'm saying? Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, because they're generational planets, there is no need to say a lot about those planets. Because those planets, everyone that was born in your generation, right, you know what I'm saying, like 1989, people that were born from, I guess, 1980 to like 1980, or some... I would have to do the math and the calculations. I haven't done it, but we'll just say it's a decade apart, you know what I'm saying? So anyone who's born at that time is going to have the same Neptune, Uranus, and Pluto. So that's why, because it may seem like, because the reason why we're going to take a little bit more time with the sun, moon, Mercury, and Venus is because these are the personal planets. Essentially, sun, moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars are personal planets, and then Jupiter and Saturn deal with the physical world and things that govern the physical world, whereas Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, they deal with things that govern the spiritual world. Alright, so let me message my homie so that he doesn't flip out or anything like that. Sorry, just give me a sec. I'm pretty sure you are a patient bumblebee. Okay, so where is Chris? So, okay. You know what? I'm just gonna let him walk out because I don't want to waste time. Okay, so when it comes to the sun, the sun, right? Before we say your sun, when it comes to the sun deals with the individual. This is how you see yourself. It deals with the energies that you identify with. It deals with, the sun deals with vigorness or vitality. The word vigorness essentially is the process of taking a lot of focus and energy into something and like taking it very serious. Should I say taking or bringing a lot of energy towards something and then taking that very seriously and acting on it with great vigorness. I'm pretty sure you know what the word vigorness means. I know what it is, it's just somewhat hard to explain. So with you having your sun in Cancer in the 9th house, the 9th house is the house of philosophy, the house of religions, the house philosophy, religion. So this house is connected with Pisces, naturally, original, you know what I'm saying? And so, this house is connected with Sagittarius. So this is not only the house of philosophy, religions, but it's also the house of travels. It's the house of higher education, higher thoughts, everything, anything and all things that have to deal with how man tries to reach the heavens, the skies, how man tries to reach God. These are all things, and so that deal with the 9th house. And so the 9th house also deals with just your perception on life. I always let people know that. See, sure, the word religion, because of all the things, the negative, nasty things that are associated with it, people don't like to use that word, you know what I'm saying? But when you disassociate from those negative things and you're not in a subjective space, but you're more in a place of objectivity and you understand that, a religion is really someone's code of conduct, code of moralities, and code of principles, you know what I'm saying? And the philosophy that one holds within their minds. Atheists are religious, you know what I'm saying? Their religion is more inclining towards science and the material world, you know what I'm saying? We're all religious in our own ways. We are all governed by morals and ethics, you know what I'm saying? And principles. Some people's morals and ethics are disgusting and nasty, but that's their religion, you know what I'm saying? Like that's the codes of conducts that inspire and help them move through life, you know what I'm saying? So essentially the ninth house is like the paradigm as well. It's like what you accumulate, it's like the knowledge and wisdom you've accumulated from your experiences, and it is the result of why you see life the way that you see life. But at the same time, the ninth house is a house that's not like a Capricorn energy where it's like you just see material experiences and you just see restrictions and limitations and you feel like you've been done wrong type energy. Cause what's up, bro?
Oh, you making a video? Sorry.
Yeah, no, you're straight.
No, you're welcome. I am coming. I am not right now, but in like 20 minutes, 30 minutes, I'm looking.
Bro, you're straight. Just come out. Just come out. You're good. See, I called it. So glad he came out though, because he gave me some agua. So yeah, that's what the ninth house is. This is the house that governs and rules teachers as well. These individuals have a tendency of accumulating and amassing knowledge and wisdom, you know what I'm saying? So the ninth house and the 12th house, because these are both houses ruled by Jupiter, and Jupiter is the planet of spirituality. Both these houses deal with God, you know what I'm saying? Now the ninth house is a house that inclines a lot towards like the the Eastern philosophies, the Eastern indoctrinations. You may have a feeling of like a pull towards Eastern culture, you know what I'm saying? Specifically like their knowledge and their wisdom, things like that may just resonate with you. You just may feel like, damn, this knowledge and wisdom is like, I don't know, me, you know what I'm saying? Like, identify. Good thing I said identify, because that's what the sun, mind you, I said, deals with. The things you identify with and everything like that. So this house, the ninth house, also does deal with, like, publishing and books, you know what I'm saying? So possibly, maybe, you may need to write a book. Who knows? You may have had a lot of your moon is in the 8th house. You have had a lot of intense experiences. So maybe you can, and your moon is in Gemini. Maybe you can take those intense experiences and put that twist of that 9th house sun, which would be okay, the moon in Gemini in the 8th house would be like talking about traumatic past, because I'm just going to talk about moon 8th house, right? 8th house is the past, and those Scorpio-like experiences that you have to, like a butterfly or like a phoenix, emerge from, right? These are experiences that are not for the heart of faint, you know what I'm saying? And we'll get into the moon when we do. But like with this synchronization and alignment, I would see it as like using that moon Gemini energy, right? Which is all about writing, which is all about journaling, which is all about books as well. And we'll get more into Gemini when we talk about your moon. Using that energy to like speak. So I kind of got a not sidetracked, but I went too deep and I got lost. So with the moon being in the 8th house, it's just like writing a book where you are vulnerable, right? Because Cancer is a sign that deals with vulnerability, where you are vulnerable and you may we talk about like your life, your upbringings, and things that you went through, and the result of I can use philosophy, but the result of the paradigm that you have developed as a result, you know what I'm saying? So it'll be like a book of like, this is what I've transcended from, and this is what I've gone through, and as a result, this is why I see life this way, you know what I'm saying? But anyways, sun in Cancer though. So when you have your sun in Cancer, this means that the moon really is ruling over your personality, Yeah, the moon is really ruling over your personality. And what this means is that I mean, your ego and your individuality. So what this means is that in order for us to truly understand the things you've built your identity around, your individuality around, is very much anchored and rooted with the energy of the moon, right? Which is domestic energy, which is caring, which is nurturing, which is probably why you have this feminine energy about you that does feel very like nurturing and very loving. You know what I'm saying? Um, yeah. I wanted to say something else. Okay, so Sun in Cancer. Sun in Cancer individuals, typically the way that this plays out is, and I have to say typically because some birth charts are not not me. Typically the way that this plays out is the mother is a great and powerful influence upon the child, right? Because the sun is a masculine force, right? It deals with what is being, like what is being influenced. It deals with influence, right? I should say. You know what I'm saying? So, the sun, depending on if it's on a masculine sign or a feminine sign, this will let us know which was a greater influence, the mother or the father, right? And what you have in your sun in Cancer, it's an indication that your mother was more of an influence in your life, and she tremendously helped in crafting your paradigm, which is the ninth house. Yeah, as I was saying, which is your paradigm. You know what I'm saying? What is the paradigm? The paradigm is a result of the experiences you've had in the past and how those experiences, okay, so it goes perceptions. We have impressions, right? Life impresses itself upon us. And then we perceive certain perceptions, right? Because it's all about perspective, right? So we're all seeing different perceptions from different perspectives, and that's Mercury. And then those perceptions, once there's enough perceptions, then they formulate a conception, which is like a body of different perceptions that deal with a reality, you know what I'm saying, which is Saturn. And so when you go through experiences, like for you, it's important that with your sun being in the with your sun being in the ninth house, for you, it's very important that you learn to, hold on, give me a sec. It's very important that you learn to take your belief system very seriously. And okay, I have a ninth house stellium, so I know about this energy. So I consider myself a religious person, and I'm obviously not religious. Like, you're right. Like, religious people don't like. You know what I did on the full moon? I drew a pentagram on the ground, right? And I did some rituals. You know what I'm saying? And one of my friends, he came outside and he was like, I saw your pentagram, and I was like, did it scare you? He was like, yeah. So, you know, people are just scared of this shit. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not really religious, but I know what the ninth house is. I know what Jupiter is. Also, fun fact, Gemini rules the lungs. So Gemini rules all activities that have to deal with the lungs, not me, including smoking. The con about that is Gemini ruling the lungs, we do a lot of activities that concern the lungs, but we're very susceptible to lung diseases. You know what I'm saying? So that's where we need to be careful about. Like when I got shot in my chest, and so the injuries that happened were all Geminian. I got shot in my chest, pierced my lung. My right hand got affected, but I'm a G because they abandoned me low key. You know, like the hospital and shit. They were just like, you know what? I think because they know who I am, so they're like, nah, let's not even help this dude. So I did it myself. You know what I'm saying? And I use my mind to heal my hand because Mercury rules the mind. Mercury also rules the hands. You know what I'm saying? But what I did, I'll break it down for you. What I did was I can teach you this too. I'd be more than happy. Mind you, I'm more than an astrologer. I'm an occultist who understands astrology. You know what I'm saying? Like there's still there. And don't worry, the green is supposed. I mean, if you know about copper, then you know why the green is there. But yeah, I did a lot of things to heal this hand. You know what I'm saying? I'm still healing it. I'm grateful. So what I did was I used my mind. You know what I'm saying? And so I'll do certain things like before I couldn't. It wasn't like this like a week ago. Like when I started working on my hand the way I did, and I started using my mind, like what I would do is I would visualize my hand, right? And even though there's limited movements in my mind, I visualize it moving perfectly. And the thing about the subconscious mind is it has greater access to our body. So what you put in your subconscious mind, and I just kept visualizing it, and I actually picked something and I tried doing it, and then it was like because I wasn't trying, I was just doing it because I was doing it in my mind. Like my hands started moving in ways, you know, that were like helping signals awake. It's a deep thing, my friend. But Gemini. These are all Geminian things I just shared with you, by the way. Where did the lighter go? So that's the ninth house energy. So I would first and foremost recommend you learning astrology. You know what I'm saying? So I have an astrology course, right? It goes for $90, but I am doing this discount right now. You know what I'm saying? And this is because, okay, I made a video, and in that video I promoted my course. And the way I promoted it, I was like, it's important that you guys have this information, so I'm gonna do you guys a favor and I'm gonna drop the price. You know what I'm saying? And so that's why there's a discount on that right now. I would recommend you getting it while the discount is there. And what that's gonna do is it's gonna help you understand the foundations of astrology. You know what I'm saying? And then later, and this is how I help teach you astrology. You know what I'm saying? But if I'm not mistaken, I think I already sent you the course, right? So I think even if I did, I have if I did send you the first part, then I'll send you the second part. You know what I'm saying? And instead of $30, you can just send $15 for the second part. Too far. I have bongs, I have pipes. But smoking out of apples is like a classic, you know? Okay. So it's important that you increase your knowledge, especially on philosophies, on just higher knowledges, you know what I'm saying? Learn as much as you can about other people's beliefs, you know what I'm saying? So here are the things that the ninth house, well, the sign that the ninth house is associated with deals with. It deals with devotion. So you would actually go further in life if you found a body of like I'm not saying what it sounds like I'm saying, but I'm gonna say it. Okay, if you would go further in life if you found a religion to devote to. And so what you should do is omnism. Know what I'm saying? Learn to pull from different parts of different religions, right? Learn to respect certain religions for certain things. And like take what resonates and leave what doesn't, you know what I'm saying? And then once that's that, then devote yourself to that. Like one thing I do is I fast every Saturday. I'm devoted to that, you know, and that's a spiritual practice, you know what I'm saying? That's a religious practice, you know what I'm saying? And I'll be honest with you and this sounds weird because people don't know what astrology truly is, but when you start learning that all these religions come from astrology, then it doesn't sound far-fetched. But astrology in of itself is a religion that can help you learn about yourself and your correlation to God, but also help you learn about God's creation at large, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, and I just feel in a very weird space saying astrology is a religion, because like I said, the things associated with religion, you know what I'm saying? but there is true religion. There is, like, because Sagittarius is a constellation in the sky, like, and it's where we're getting these ideas and energies from about religion, you know. So there is a true source, but it's like religion is Jupiter, but then man used Saturn energy to enslave humanity type energy, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, increase your awareness and your knowledge around religions. Now, Cancer is a sign that deals with emotions, that deals with vulnerability. But first, let's talk about Cancer's association with family. So Cancer rules the fourth house, which is a psychic house or a spiritual house. The thing about this house, the thing about the sign slash house, right, fourth house slash Cancer energy, is Cancer deals with the lineage. It deals with our ancestors. It deals with the family, our bloodline. You know what I'm saying? It deals with Cancer. Also deals with a lot of things that we inherit from our family. You know what I'm saying? It deals with familial inheritances. Like the eighth house deals with inheritances of the material resources, but the fourth house deals with, unfortunately, things like private affairs. You know what I'm saying? So it can be positive or it can be negative, but it can be when I say private affairs, I mean like things that run in the family that no one else knows about. Cause Cancer, the house that Cancer belongs to, is below the horizon. What that means is it's private. You know what I'm saying? So Cancer deals with things that are more kept secret. So this can be family curses, right? And with you having your moon in the eighth house, like this shows that you may have had like traumatic experiences in the home, possibly of the sexual kind as well, especially with you being a Scorpio. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, thank you for trusting me to do your reading, because I know this is very personal and vulnerable stuff. You know what I'm saying? So back to Cancer. Okay. Because Cancer is a water sign and the ninth house is a house of one's paradigm, one's philosophy, first and foremost, understand, I already said this, but understand that family is important. Studying how your family influenced you and how you act certain ways as a result of your family is very important. Learning and understanding that, because that's the Cancerian energy, you know what I'm saying? And realizing that a lot of your paradigm are, rather I should say, maybe more rooted in subjectivity rather than objectivity, meaning emotions rather than facts, or logic. It's also a value to observe your paradigm from that perspective, and then work on slowly altering and changing certain things you believe, and certain things, you know what I'm saying, certain things you believe, because certain things you believe may have came not from logic but from emotional experiences. You know what I'm saying? Cancer is a sign that wants what is comfortable, wants what is familiar. It wants safetyness. So it's interesting how these two energies play out, because the ninth house is a house that deals with adventures, right? The ninth house is a house that deals with experiences and long journeys. So a lot of the times, the ninth house can take you out of someone take you out of your element. So this can even play out maybe as you being one of those Cancers that's like, you know what, the earth is my home. You know, like you've come to the awareness and understanding that home is not a place, but it's like a feeling, I guess. Like that's a possibility. You know what I'm saying? Cause the ninth house is a very freeing house, a house that wants to run. Because the ninth house's sign that it's associated with is Sagittarius, and Sagittarius deals with horses. You know what I'm saying? So you may want to run and be free like a horse. But then you may feel like, because with the moon being in the eighth house, and the eighth house being a house that deals with the 12th house deals with imprisonment more than the 8th house, but the 8th house is also a house that deals with imprisonments that are of our own invention, you know what I'm saying? Emotional imprisonments. feeling restricted and feeling limited emotionally, feeling like there's emotional boundaries. Let me explain. You know, like there's certain things, right, that we can't go towards or that we can't go away from because we have emotional fears. You know, like once we get close to that thing, there's a fear that manifests and then it pushes back. Like that's an emotional boundary. You know what I'm saying? That's like the moon in the eighth house energy. So what you need to do is learn to transform and transcend. And I'm pretty sure that you have transcended and transformed a lot of these emotional patterns that, because you have your sun and you have your moon in Gemini, so it's not just emotion, it's logic. Man, oh man. All right, so I'm gonna conclude. I'm gonna close up on the Cancer energy so we can get into the moon because I got some juicy things to say about the moon. Okay, so first and foremost, Cancer. I'm gonna give you the practical knowledges about Cancer. Cancer is signified by the crab, rightfully so. For Cancer's strength is tenacity, yet their weakness is touchiness. The crab has a strong exterior, but a very touchy interior. You know what I'm saying? Cancers can be can be tough, right? And they can go through a lot of emotional things. They can go through a lot of emotional pain. They can get tested and all that good stuff. You know what I'm saying? But it's like when they are in their element, I guess you can say, because typically cancers are in a protective energy. You know what I'm saying? Typically cancers uh, are shy. They're reserved. They are more looking than contributing to the knowledge and information. You know what I'm saying? Cancer is like the mother who works behind the scenes and raises the child. You know what I'm saying? Because cancer is below the horizon, the mother may not always get attention. You know what I'm saying? But yeah. So cancers may find themselves doing a lot for people, um, but they may not feel like they are getting the recognition because see, the sign Cancer is exalted in Jupiter. Jupiter is a sign that deals with wisdom and knowledge. The highest wisdom is love. Jupiter's One of Jupiter's signs is Pisces, you know what I'm saying? And Pisces is the sign connected to Neptune and Jupiter, but Neptune also. And Neptune is the planet of agape love, which is universal, unconditional love. So in Cancer's archetype, just being able, or just being, rather, I should say, exalted in Jupiter, Cancer is an energy that can pull that Christ consciousness. You know what I'm saying? Pisces, because you know Pisces is the sun of God. You know what I'm saying? Like when the sun is in Pisces, this is a time of like, okay, because let's talk about what Pisces is. You know what I'm saying? Because I can't just say, oh, when the sun goes into Pisces, this is the time for it, because the sun, the moon, the Jupiter, the Saturn, all of those, all those planets are doing something, contributing to the time we're experiencing. You know what I'm saying? But in general, the sun in Pisces. So let's talk about Pisces. When Pisces signifies, Pisces signifies the transcendence of the ego. It signifies self-sacrifice. It signifies belief. It signifies strong, like belief that is fact. You know what I'm saying? So that's why Pisces can be delusional, because sometimes with Pisces person they can believe in their own lies. You know what I'm saying? But anyways, yeah, with Cancer being connected to Jupiter like that, there's this exaltation of love, and in general just having this ability to give a little bit more. And I think for you, I'm pretty sure you're most likely a mother, right? I'm gonna take that, yes, it's Cancer. But then you have your moon in the 8th house. Okay, so you're a mother. Okay, so when the sun goes into, okay, so whatever the 9th house is, and whatever house is ruling the 9th house, this is the house of, like, this is where you're gonna have the most experiences. And so for you, it's Cancerian energy. So this is motherhood. You know what I'm saying? This is going through and learning knowledge and wisdom through your kids, through your children, all that good energy. You know what I'm saying? But also through domestic affairs as well. And it's important that with you having the sun in the ninth house, that you learn about your subconscious mind. You get things like the book, the Psycho-Cybernetics. It's important. You learn to study, or you learn Bob Proctor's work, and you study that. All these things are good and valuable. These are, oh, man, this water's cool. I mean, take advantage of it while it's cool. I don't know. Yeah, you can see it, right? You can tell that it's cool. All right, so these are all things you should take advantage of, right? So, all right, I left out the fact that Cancer's key phrase is I feel, right? So it's all about the feelings. So it's important for you as a Cancer to pay attention to your feelings, to pay attention to your emotions, and yeah, your feelings and your emotions. Cancer is the sign of moods, right? And Cancer's ruling planet, aka satellite, moon, is known for fluctuation. You know what I'm saying? So that fluctuation energy that manifests in the moon, but also through the ups and downs of like the stocks market, because that's ruled by the moon too. Money, that's why it's moony. That's why it's spelled like that, and that's why it's green, because the color green is the color of the moon. You know what I'm saying? Money, even is ruled by the moon, and money kind of does go up and down as well, or prices go up and down. So it's important to learn. It's important with your moon in Gemini. Okay, this is a great segue into Gemini. Now we've talked enough about the moon and about your sun. Things to identify with. Identify with your femininity, your feminine energy, because the moon, the Earth, and Venus. They're mothers. Well, Venus is like an empress. She's not so much of a motherly energy. She's more like fertility. But the moon is exalted in Taurus. You know what I'm saying? So, as a Cancer, you enjoy Taurus energies, right? Like, so that this can be sensuality, being touched, yeah, because Cancers, like I said, they're like reserved, they're shy. So, but yeah, I guess, on a, like, so just the comfort that comes from touch, you know what I'm saying, being held. Food, right, maybe something you enjoy too. Yeah. And so mind you that, so fire and air signs, I'm an air sign, right? Fire and air signs, our metabolisms are faster. So we don't really, like, and fire and air is very light. So typically we manifest in skinny or thinner bodies, you know what I'm saying? But then earth and water holds things, and earth is dense, you know what I'm saying? So earth and water signs are typically manifest with certain. It's not you can't even say it's weight issues, but like this world got us fucked up in all types of ways. Cause they got us thinking like there's something wrong with us, when it's like it's just your energy, your archetype. Like, what I'm saying is there is such a thing as obesity, and there is such a thing as you doing your body wrong by putting a lot of junk food, and then like obesity is a real thing. I'm not saying it's not. What I'm saying also is certain bodies are built certain ways because of the energies that they are incarnating through. Okay, so yeah. Okay, feelings. So pay attention to your feelings and your emotions. Segue into the moon. Alright, so now with your moon being in Gemini, whereas the sun is your ego, which you express, so the energies you express are very caring, very kind. They can also be rather vulnerable, and you may have a tendency of either expressing things that you should keep private, or people may come to you and they may feel like, I can be vulnerable with this person, I can share certain things. Especially with you having that moon in the 8th house, people feel real comfortable with you, and they'll come and they'll just tell you your whole life story. And you having that moon in Gemini, you'll listen. You'll pretend like because I'm a Gemini, so right. Sometimes you just pretend like, because Okay, as an air sign, the air signs want to be friendly. Yeah, so it's just I have no idea what he said. I hope he doesn't ask me a question. Type energy, you know what I'm saying? It's very air signy. Aquarius, Libra, and Gemini. But yeah, But now, like with you having it in the eighth house, it gets a little deeper. You know what I'm saying? There's depth in it. I'm just pouring this water. Okay, so yeah, the moon, right? Since we're getting into the moon, you son of a gun. As I was saying, the moon deals with the inner world, whereas we just talked a lot about your sun, and it deals with the outer world, things you express. So you may be a teacher, you may like to express knowledge and wisdom, like to teach those things. You know what I'm saying? The 11th house is the house of promotions, but the ninth house is the house of advertisement. You know what I'm saying? Because I've been noticing you be advertising about certain things. The ninth house is the house of advertisement and like the spoken word type energy. It's like any time something is being spread, kind of like how religions spread, kind of how like advertisements are. Well, okay, advertisements are ruled by the ninth house and they're ruled by Gemini too. So they're ruled by a couple things, actually, for different reasons. But the primary ruler is the ninth house. Know what I'm saying? Okay, so now with you having your moon, hold on. Okay, what was I saying about the moon? If you're having your moon in... Okay, so your sun is 25 degrees Cancer. This is the last decan of Cancer. This is the decan of... It's considered the decan of research. This is a Cancer Pisces energy. So you're ruled by Cancer, but you're sub-ruled by Jupiter. And we've been talking about Jupiter and what it is, not me. So yeah, that's Cancer energy. But then because it's in the 25th decan, the third decan. What does that even mean? 25th. So the third, because it's in the third decan, and it's at 25 degrees. That's why I was tripping up my words. This energy is Jupiter, Cancer Jupiter. So this is a decan of research. Specifically, it deals with spiritual research. Cancer is a sign that's inclined towards intuition, right? Intuitive abilities, and this deals with researches of that domain. Becoming a researcher, but someone who utilizes their intuitive and psychic abilities to learn about the spiritual world. Because there's a lot about the spiritual world we don't know about. But a lot that we do know about from the spiritual world comes from a lot of authors and people that had their sun in the third decan of Cancer, which is the decan of research. So if you were to get into researching the spiritual world, you would go further than most people at it. You know what I'm saying? So as you can tell, there's a lot I can say and I can talk about. Yeah. So yeah, and astrology is a very deep thing. That's why I want to teach you astrology, so then you can get deeper into your chart. Because no matter how deep I get for you, you can always go deep. Okay, so yeah, that's your sun, right, which is in the third decan. I had to mention that. And so this decan is signified by a ship, right? Argo, the ship that carried them safe to the storm, carried them home safe to the storm. And so this ship, it deals with the fact that in the spiritual world, people think the spiritual world is like light, love and light. Hell nah. Nope. There's a lot of manipulative forces in the spiritual plane. And a lot of people, due to lack of research and due to not knowing what's in the spiritual plane and not having developed their abilities, they can't be carried safely home. Right? That's like the allegory. Like, home, I guess you can say, is heaven or whatever. They can't, because they have yet to build a ship that can carry them through the storm. And that ship is symbolic to the knowledge and wisdom you accumulate about the spiritual world and how it works. Once you have that knowledge and wisdom, then you can move more freely, you know what I'm saying? And you no longer have to be swayed and influenced by maleficent forces that want to take advantage of you. We'll get deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper into this, of course. Sheesh, because you have some, my friend, you have a lot of aspects, like a lot of aspects. A lot of aspects, like so many aspects. Yeah. But anyways, your moon is in Gemini. So first and foremost, as I already mentioned, the moon deals with emotions. It deals with how we react and respond to the world around us. How we react and respond to stimulation in general. So with you having your moon in Gemini, in the 8th house, off the bat, the way that you react to things deals with thoughts. You know what I'm saying? So you try to rationalize and logicalize like your reactions. Like if something happens, rather than, okay, because the sun is what you are expressing. This is a masculine energy, so you express a lot of emotional feminine energies out into the world, but it's like that's just what it looks like. But what it actually is, because your emotions is your moon, your sun is just what it looks like. So it may look like emotional or whatever, but there's a logic behind the madness, we can even say, you know what I'm saying? So the moon in Gemini, first and foremost, when the moon goes into Gemini, this is scattered thoughts. This is anxiety at its max. This is overthinking that can lead to depressive tendencies as well. Heavy thoughts is what it's all about, really, because Gemini rules thoughts. Gemini typically is light thoughts, you know what I'm saying? But anytime you have too much of something, it becomes heavy. So tendencies of overthinking manifest in the moon. Tendencies of overthinking Never mind. I thought I saw something in your. I did see something in your chart. Jeez, I saw a ghost. Right? It probably looked like I saw a ghost in your chart. Nah, but you straight. You good though. Talk about that. We'll talk about that in future sessions. What I saw. It's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. It can be a good thing. I mean, it definitely can be a good thing. No, it is a good thing because it's a trine. So I'll talk about that in the future. We'll talk about your aspects. But as I was saying though, with you having with you having moon in Gemini, you should know that. Let's talk more about the moon. So in the body, the moon rules the the liquids, right? It rules the blood, but it rules all the liquids of the body. I wish I had rolling paper so I can roll up, cause it's fun. Smoking out of, man, I need to. So I'm not smoking out of my bong because I accidentally broke my bowl. I need to get another bowl for the bong. I don't know if you smoke, but I hope you don't mind me smoking. And if you do smoke, check this out. I don't know if you smoke other herbs, but this is some lavender. I love smoking lavender. This is what I should be smoking. Typically just put the lavender on top of my weed, you know what I'm saying? And what it does, as you know, I'm pretty sure, lavender is a very calming, very calm. So lavender is Jupiter. There you go. You're sub-ruled by Jupiter. So because you're sub-ruled by Jupiter, it's like you should take the energies of Cancer and you should take the energies of the moon and the energies of Jupiter. And this is like teaching, but through the energy of the mother. Like that's the most, and that goes deep, right? You can break it down for yourself, analyze it, and really understand what that means. But you know what I'm saying? Okay, so my apologies. I'm looking for my lighter. Lighter, where you at? Oh, there it is. Okay, so fun fact, I have my moon in Gemini, but my moon is in Gemini, but it's 1 degree Gemini. Your moon is in Gemini, but it's 27 degrees Gemini. So you're in the 3rd decan of Gemini. I'm in the 1st decan of Gemini. So my decan is the decan of intuition. So it kind of plays out a little bit different than your decan. Your decan is the decan of reason. Probably why you're always trying to reason your emotions. And that's the thing. As a Gemini moon, I had to learn to stop trying to use my emotions with logic, you know what I'm saying? And then the smoke from the lavender is just so crisp. And yeah, you know, it's a value to learn to kind of just, cause okay, oh wow, it's a cusp. Your moon is technically on a cusp. So with your moon being on a cusp, it's still Gemini energy, but it's backed and supported by Cancer energy. Damn, that's dope as fuck. Grateful. Because the way that our moons are our moons are connected, and that's dope, you know what I'm saying? I think it's beautiful and it's good because yeah, you should have connections, you know, with like your spirit guide, you know, your, because I'm not just an astrologer, as I'm sure you probably know by now. My knowledge goes way beyond astrology. Wow. I just got an amazing revelation. I used to, when I did these readings, I would do it back, like, I would just, you know what I'm saying? Like, I wouldn't take breaks or anything like that. And unintentionally, as I'm taking a smoke break, I'm realizing just how valuable it is. You know what I'm saying? For the reading, even, because now I've kind of refreshed my mind. You know what I mean? So, anyways, Moon and Gemini energy. It's important that we learn to kind of just allow our emotions without trying to logicalize them or put words to them, but just feel your emotions. Why are you feeling sad? Like, because when the moon goes into Gemini, because water and air are kind of contradictive energy. You know what I'm saying? One is thought, one is emotion, one is the heart, one is the mind. One is the brain, one is the brain, one is the heart. And so when the moon goes into Gemini, it may want to make sense of these things that you're not supposed to make sense of. You're just supposed to allow yourself to feel, allow yourself to be vulnerable in that raw energy. You know what I'm saying? Now, with it being in the 8th house, this is the house of psychology. This is the house of astrology. This is how the house of inner work, shadow work. So, it's a value and important for you to go within and create or strengthen those internal dialogues that you have with yourself. If you don't talk to yourself, what I'm saying is you should start talking to yourself, because Gemini is communication, and Gemini is the twins. You know what I'm saying? Inside. And when these two twins start talking, it's over. The lowest manifestation of the Gemini duality, because Gemini is duality, right? It's the twins. It's the symbol is 2 pillars, right? Yeah, I forgot that this. So this is gold plated, but it's 14 karat gold, right? 14 karat gold has copper and stuff in it. But anyways, I got sidetracked. So what was I saying? The lowest manifestation of Gemini's duality or polarity is the polarization of the mind and the heart, the emotions and the thoughts. And then once you learn to unify your thoughts and emotions, and both your thoughts and emotions, or your heart and your mind, are in the same page, brain-heart coherency, once you reach brain-heart coherency, then the duality of Gemini becomes the soul and the body, right? The soul and the body. And then once you unify that, and in a way you become your soul, or you become the higher force that is driving, because your soul is like in the spiritual world, and it projects itself into the mental world through your mind, and then your mind is what creates your body, right? So there's like there's a mediumship, there's like a 3-layer mediumship, and so in that mental plane, you can get hijacked, right? If you're watching the news too much, then they're impregnating your mind, and you're gonna start giving birth to all types of weird, fucking demonic children, I guess, that are gonna start taking over your mind, type shit. So it's a real deep thing, and as a Gemini moon, you need to learn. As a Gemini moon in the 8th house, and that's even deeper, you need to learn the rules and the laws that govern the mental plane, which you can do with your mind, and I can show you and teach you all these things as well, because I know about these things, right? I'm telling you about these things because I know about these things. I think is how I should rather say it. Okay. So, Gemini moon, like I already broke down anxiety, and then the reason why anxiety can come into play is sometimes as Gemini moon, you may overthink certain things. You may try to rationalize certain things, and in the moment of rationalization, you forget that there are energies out there of like emotion, right? Forgiveness, of like generosity, you know what I'm saying? So you may think certain things just have to be logical, but sometimes things can just, because okay, the moon is also how you nurture and how you receive and how you take care of yourself, and I guess that's where the logic aspect of things may be, and you may feel like nurturing and taking care of yourself has to be a logical thing, but in reality, if you learn to just be vulnerable, right? Like, let's say with the universe or with the earth, and you learn to connect, and then you learn that like the earth actually supports us. We get our resource, and this is root chakra work, right? Hold on, I'm thinking. Hell yeah, root chakra work, right? Yeah, there doesn't always have to be a reason. Like sometimes you may attract certain people, and with you having the moon in the 8th house, you attract narcissists, people with ulterior motives, enemies, hidden enemies, or open enemies. I think, yeah, it's the 8th house, open enemies. Enemies, or and just in general, like people that pull up on you with ulterior motives. And I think your rising sign is in Scorpio, but the 8th house is also Scorpio energy. So people that just lust, you know what I'm saying, that just want to like, yeah, all types of weird shit gets attracted to you when you have your moon in the 8th house. But you can use the moon in the 8th house on the positive level to transform yourself. Like, instead of dealing with those, people that have ill intentions for you in your real life, you can like deal with those shadow beings that have cultivated as a result of your experiences, and you can confront them, you know what I'm saying, and deal and transform and transcend yourself and put death, because the 8th house is the house of death. You probably have had a lot of experiences with death, like dying. Gemini is a very youthful sign, so maybe with children dying also possibly, right? And the moon is the 8th house. So I didn't really get into this, but I was gonna say like, so with you having your moon in the 8th house, this can be an indication of like the mother not being there, or like the mother disappearing. Yeah, the mother not being there, the mother having died at such a young age, or the mother being taken from you due to drugs or some fucked up shit like that, you know what I'm saying? Very transformative energies. But regardless with the sun being in Cancer, it's still, even if the mother wasn't there, she's gonna be a great influence. You know what I'm saying? And it's like the father, if you were raised by your father, may have uh, embodied a lot of those feminine, motherly energies. And I could be wrong, because like when we get into the aspects in the later sessions, then we start to connect all these different things, right? And like the sun is the father, but like you have your sun semi-sextile your moon, and parallel your moon, conjunct your Mercury, square your Mars, square your Jupiter, Uranus, trining your Uranus, squaring your Pluto. Sheesh. So you got all types of things that are connecting to that energy, right? So like, let's say the sun is the father, but then like the aspects that the sun is receiving are how that fatherly energy is altered. Like you have, like you have Mars squared. Sheesh. You have Mars squared. Mars squared your sun, and this can play out as having had bad experiences with the masculine energy, right? Because Mars, okay, so Mars is the planet of aggression. Also, this can just play out as you having trouble with your own aggression, or you having had experiences where people threw their aggression at you type energy, you know what I'm saying? Mars is a square, and a square, I mean, Mars is squaring your sun. A square is a learning opportunity. It's an energy, it's an obstacle that you need to learn to overcome, and once you learn to overcome that obstacle, what happens is you gain certain things, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, you gain certain things, in which case it'd be like learning to assert and put force behind your will. Like, I will do this, and actually getting up and doing it, you know what I'm saying? Mars square sun can play out like other people infringing their force upon you and making you, okay, because other people infringing their force upon you is Mars, right? And it's a square, so it's an uncomfortable energy, and it's a learning opportunity. And so it's a square, right? And I already said that that's the other people, right? The aggressive energy. It's a square, and it's connecting to your sun, which is the individual, which is you, which is like the star, right? You are the star, right? So which is like the star. So it's like there is this celestial drama that's happening. I was gonna say between your sun and your moon. I mean between your sun and your Mars. And I remember you have a couple of things in this joint. You have some trines too, you know, so it's not all bad. But we're gonna talk about the squares first, because we're gonna talk about it. Then I'm gonna show you how to transform it and transmute it. Like in the future, I really do hope that I teach you alchemy. You know what I'm saying? Because then, what alchemy is all about, using your birth chart to transform and transcend yourself. You know what I'm saying? So my work. I hope that our work can get deep. You know what I'm saying? For sure, because I can definitely be of great service and help to you, and I hope I am. Yeah, you know. And then you also have Jupiter. Both Jupiter and Mars are like masculine energies, masculine sign, masculine planet. You know what I'm saying? But like with you having Jupiter square your moon, that's probably, I mean, Jupiter square your sun, that's probably why you had some crazy ass experiences. I look so high. That's like, I am pretty high. I'm not that high though. But anyway, that's probably why you've had some experiences with religion and being like, fuck religion. You know what I'm saying? Like, because it's a square, and I already explained what a square is. And we'll get deeper into that, I promise you, in our next future sessions. Okay, so that's pretty much the moon in the 8th house. Learn to develop your mental faculties, your mental skills, your mental abilities. This deacon, right, which you have your moon in the sky, is represented by Ursa Major. There's Ursa Minor, the little bear, and there's Ursa Major, the big bear. So you're in the deacon of the big bear. The reason why it's represented by the big bear, this is the deacon of Gemini, that's Aquarius. This is Gemini Aquarius. So you got to learn to integrate that Saturnian energy, because Aquarius is ruled by Saturn, but also ruled by Uranus. And we'll get into Uranus later. That's why you gotta learn to develop disciplines around your mind, right? You know what I'm saying? Disciplines around your mind. You gotta learn to develop your concentration abilities, and that's very important, especially in this world that we live in, because they've intentionally shortened our attention span. So yeah, you gotta learn to do that. You know what I'm saying? And you just gotta learn to develop your mental faculties. Like, that is where you will reign supreme, my friend. Is what I'm trying to tell you. You know what I'm saying? And it's a deep thing, because, like I said, the moon in the 8th house does deal with the need to become your own therapist, become your own psychologist, and learn to heal yourself. Because the moon is that inner child that's wounded. Your inner child, and who wounded your inner child? Can I see it in your chart? Damn. Hold on. Wow, that's nice. Venus conjunct moon. Whoa, so actually, okay, you have Venus conjunct moon, so maybe even if you did go through intense experiences, they may have been perceived through the lens of harmony, right? Pleasure, which is Venus, than Mars, which is like destructive energy. So you may looking at your chart and looking at these squares, it seems that you may have more so had opposition and friction when it came to who you wanted to be, your identity, and the way you think, the way you thought. You know what I'm saying? And the way you thought, opposed by maybe certain masculine forces, and especially by authority figures, right, which is also typically masculine. So this can even play out like governments and things like that. Yeah, I'm like looking at your squares and things like that when I'm not supposed to right now. We're supposed to focus on the planets. So that's pretty much the moon in 27th in the 8th house. You feel, and you feel deeply. I'll also say that. When you feel things, you can feel them very deeply. When you go through emotions that are painful, you probably feel like you're dying. You probably feel like it's the end, not type energy. Because the 8th house is a sign of intensity. So it's like what you need to learn is like to kind of let that fire burn. You know what I'm saying? Let that pain burn inside of you, and like just release and allow yourself to cry if you need to. And like find a place, if you feel called, and let yourself release that, because the 8th house energy is an accumulation of things from the past. You know what I'm saying? And it's like its sign is fixed water, right? What happens when you fix water? I mean, fixed water is ice, sure, but putting water in a container like this, right? I've technically fixed it, like, and if I just leave it alone, right? It's fixed. It's still. It's only a matter of time for things to start accumulating. And sure, this accumulation doesn't always have to be bad, right? If, because I feel like, and tell me if I wasn't completely wrong, but I feel like I may be wrong to speak about like the wounding of your inner child, because you have what a semi-sextile is. Now I gotta do it with like, fuck, because I want, you know what? Because I can either do it hour by hour, and we count it like that, or I can do it info by info. You know what I'm saying? I'm kind of doing both. I think I'm gonna put the semi-sextile to the side, and I'm gonna finish your moon and then get to Venus. Alright, get to Mercury, and then we'll cut it off after I get to Mercury, you know what I'm saying? And this will be the first session, and then I'll do the next session, because you paid for 2 sessions. I'm pretty sure you remember that. And then after, we'll correlate, and then we'll do future sessions as well, for sure. But yeah, so pretty much moon in the 8th house. Learn to work your shadows. Learn to release your intense emotions. learn to find ways to like die and be born again and unify with, because it's also the eighth house. The eighth house, because it goes seventh house, which is the house of marriage, and then the eighth house. The eighth house is a deep connection with someone, right? So that may be a yearning and a desire that you may have as well, especially with you having your Venus in the eighth house too. There's this desire to want to unify and just merge completely, like spiritually, with your partner. So those are the things you should focus on and finding healthy ways to do those things. All right, now let's move to Mercury, and then after Mercury we'll get done. All right, so Mercury is in Cancer, but it's in the ninth house. So let's talk about the ninth house. Mercury in the ninth house. There are certain stories about Mercury in the ninth house that deal with like the gods' jealousy. Because how can a mere mortal fly to their domain? You know what I'm saying? Type energy, like, and so because when Mercury goes into Gemini, right? Like I said, Mercury goes into the ninth house, right? Like I haven't said, but okay, so I did say that. I already told you what the ninth house is, so we don't need to talk about that. So Mercury is the planet of intellect, planet of logic, the planet of rationality, the planet of common thoughts. The third house is your common thoughts. Now I'm saying, but Mercury also deals with certain thoughts that are like, because Mercury is how okay, so the moon and Mercury have a synastry with one another. Mercury fucks with the moon, but the moon is not like Mercury, because when you're in your emotions, the last thing you want to hear is logic, right? You just want to be in your feelings. Now Mercury though can fuck with the moon, because if you're wise enough to, after you're done with your emotions, all right, so now to finish up Mercury. So the last thing I remember I was talking upon was those stories, right, that deal with the gods, which are really the planets, right, being envious or jealous of those who have the capacity to fly into their domain, which is the ninth house. So people with Mercury in the ninth house, we typically are philosophers, right? Thinkers that desire to grasp high concepts, you know what I'm saying? And we have a lot of Jupiterian, or yeah, I'll say yeah, a lot of Jupiterian energies in our mind, you know what I'm saying? So when it comes to Mercury in Cancer in the ninth house, so like I mentioned earlier, Cancer is a sign that deals with familial lineages, and Mercury is the planet of thinking, right? And the ninth house is the house of philosophy, religion, higher thoughts, etc. So putting these all together, it lets us know that a lot of your thoughts, well, first and foremost, with Mercury being in Cancer, Mercury doesn't, kind of struggles when it's in Cancer, when it's in the sign of water and emotion, because it's a planet of logic. So this can play out as you kind of having a tendency of, like, let's say, jeopardizing intellect for emotion, like shooting down what you know you should do because what you want to do is more familiar or more comfortable emotionally, you know what I'm saying? Like, Aries is the impulsive sign, but Cancer can somewhat also be impulsive, but more from a like acting out of emotions, like mood swings energy almost, you know what I'm saying? So it's important that when it comes to your intellect and everything like that, you separate emotion from logic. Because with Cancer and Mercury, sometimes it can play out in a manner where you may not interpretate, interpretate, or process the things that people are trying to communicate to you the right way, because due to emotion there may be a filterization of certain things, like that energy of like, fuck that, I don't want to hear that, I'm in my feelings right now, so you don't hear this or that. It's kind of like, and of course it doesn't have to be that extreme, but I'm just trying to explain this energy, you know what I'm saying? Like, technically, Mercury and Cancer is kind of underwater. It's kind of like underwater, especially being in the last decan. So with you having both Mercury and your Sun in the last decans, though, it's like you would benefit a lot from making a hobby of journeying inside of yourself. Because, alright, look, Mercury is the inquisitive mind, the mind that thinks, logicalizes, rationalizes, thinks. But then, whatchamacallit? Cancer is the subconscious mind. So there is this with with Mercury and Cancer. One thing that may be contributed is an individual with a great memory of because, okay, Mercury and Cancer, like your logical and your rationing abilities, they are like, they're there, but they're coded with emotion, you know what I'm saying? So what this means is that when you go through experiences and like the way that you perceive it, the way that you reason it out, the overall perception of it may be very emotionally influenced, you know what I'm saying? So you may find yourself in the process of trying to rationalize things, going through X, Y, and Z emotions. And so what happens is, like, because Cancer has this energy of imprint, because Cancer is a cardinal sign, right? And the cardinal signs are gas. The cardinal signs are the most active signs. And that's why Cancer is very emotionally, like, active. But Cancer can also initiate emotions, right? This is why that's why Kevin Hart is a Cancer. He makes people laugh. Laughter is a potent emotion. Laughter and crying, they're so close. But in general, with Mercury being in Cancer, you should incline more towards your instinctual abilities, your emotional abilities, your intellectual ability to like feel, like, rather than focusing on communicating with words, focus on emotional communication, you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like with this placement, you could probably be a good counselor and help, like, kids. Maybe. Because Mercury in Cancer is like this energy of caring, right? Like, these are people that people can come to you and feel like you care and feel vulnerable enough to communicate and kind of expose certain layers of themselves to you. And that's also because you have that 8th house moon, and because you have that No, I think that's it. The eighth house moon and the Cancer energy. You know what I'm saying? So, when it comes to Mercury in the ninth house, though, this is an energy where you are closer to truth than most people. What I'm trying to say is, we all get to truth, but really, the signs of truth are Jupiter, which is the planet, Pisces, and Sagittarius. You know what I'm saying? These are signs. Like Aquarius deals with knowledge. You know what I'm saying? Knowingness. Like each sign, like even Gemini deals with truth. You know, because Gemini deals with reasoning. It deals with intuition, reasoning and intuition. You know what I'm saying? Reasoning can only get so close to the truth. Like through reason, that's why like when, because there's I think it's the North Star. I'm not sure. I should know this, right, as an astrologer, but it's not. It's escaping my mind. Like there is the star of truth. That's technically what it is, and the star of truth is depicted around like the the bears, right? The Ursa Major and the Ursa Minor, and Ursa Minor. I don't even know if it's like, because I think they say it's touching it with its tail, but I don't think bears have long tails, right? So it may have been a different animal, but it's like the constellation that represents reason is barely able to touch the truth. Like it can see it, but it hasn't grasped it. But then intuition, the constellation that represents intuition, has its hand or is touching the truth. You know what I'm saying? So even through Gemini, like, so it's a deep thing. You know what I'm saying? But it's really the ninth house energy. And the thing about the ninth house, the Sagittarius energy, is it synchronizes, or yeah, they're polar opposites, Gemini and Sagittarius. So being polar opposites, we actually embody that Sagittarius energy too, but we just embody it in a different way, which we'll get into in a different session. So with your Mercury being in Cancer, this is like okay, whereas an air sign in communication would seek to get ideas and thoughts across, damn. But then it's like you have your moon in Gemini. With you having your moon in Gemini, you do have, okay. So the way that this energy works is like, okay, although you have your moon in Gemini, the moon is receiving energies from Mercury because Mercury rules Gemini, you know what I'm saying? So wherever Gemini goes, Mercury is there. So Mercury is sending energies to your moon, which is in Gemini, its sign. But then the moon is sending energies back to Mercury. So off the bat, there's already this synchronization between your moon and your Mercury. But it's like, it's a swapped backwards energy, right? Because Mercury is supposed to be in Gemini and the moon is supposed to be in Cancer. So it's like switched, you know what I'm saying? Where it's like now that Gemini, I mean, that Mercury energy is playing through the moon. And so this is like Mercury deals with how you record data from your senses into the physical world. I mean, from the physical world into your inner world. So your five senses, things like that. Your five senses, your nervous system, you know, things like that. So Mercury rules these things as well, your nervous system, which is really the system. Your nervous system and your brain ruled by Mercury. So I don't know. I feel like there's something in my nose. Anyways, Mercury Mercury in Cancer. So it's like there's a subjectivity energy that's filtering your senses. Meaning that the way you perceive reality is heavily influenced by, so yeah, by your feelings, right? And so it's like your thoughts are fourth dimensional, but your feelings are fifth dimensional. You know what I'm saying? Okay. And it's like, hold on, I'm trying to think. I guess the reason why I brought up the dimensions is to kind of explain the fact that emotions kind of are more potent than thoughts, but they're really somewhat equal to one another. You know what I'm saying? Just because one is on a higher dimension, that doesn't really mean that much. But yeah, emotion. All of this is emotions are more feminine, whereas thoughts are more masculine. And it's like Mercury is supposed to be in the masculine energy of thoughts. Instead, it's in the feminine energy of Cancer. I hope that you kind of get where I'm trying to point at and what I'm trying to say, because I feel like I may just be repeating myself at this point. I hope not. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, you know, it's this backwards energy where it's like you receive reports. You know what I'm saying? Reports from your senses, which are subjective because they're influenced by feelings, by emotion, which is like in the moment. You know what I'm saying? Now, this can be turned into good as well. Like, if you are feeling emotionally good, then like your reports will be filtered through that, so everything will just be good. You know what I'm saying? But if you're in an emotional state, because Cancer, mind you, like I said, is feelings, right, and emotions. So if you're in a negative emotion and feeling, then it's like that's the lens that you're perceiving the world through, because Mercury is in Cancer, right? And Cancer is actually steam because it's cardinal water, right? Cardinal water is water that evaporated because it gets so excited. And what does steam do to windows, right? It clouds them up, right? So, and then what happens is you receive these reports, and then you take it to you take it to your moon, because once you receive a report from Mercury, then it gets assimilated by your moon. You know what I'm saying? And I remember I was talking about how the moon rules the blood, and what does the blood do? I mean, the blood, it distributes nutrition, right, to every single port, but also the liquids. Because I was explaining how the moon just rules fluids. The fluids have a great role in helping us digest foods and things like that, right? But yeah, you know, it's pretty much the synchronicity or the explanation around it or about it. But yeah, you know. So it's assimilation. So that's really what it means, because your blood and your fluids help assimilate things. You know what I'm saying? Into the body. So once Mercury gives the reports, the mind or the moon breaks it down, right? And then it's like you take subjective energy, but then you bring emotion and logic to it, you know, so there can be issues and energies, like conflictive energies there, if that makes sense. But it can be a conflictive energy, but at the same time you can learn to utilize. Hold on, I'm thinking. So really what it is it's a mercurial imbalance, right? It's a mercurial imbalance and a moon, because it's both the moon and Mercury. So it's a mercurial imbalance and a moon imbalance. But I feel like the mercurial imbalance kind of weighs a little bit more in this case, because okay, there are there are angular houses, there are cadent. I mean, there are angular houses, succedent houses, then cadent houses. The ninth house is a cadent house, and the cadent houses, their ability to amplify energy is very low, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? But then, okay, and that's like Mercury in the moon, right? Energy. Damn. So I'm gonna leave it at, rather than going deep into detail, I'm just gonna leave it at, it's a mercurial imbalance. And so, hold on, I'm thinking. So first and foremost, Mercury's polar opposite energy is Jupiter. So you would need to learn to cultivate Jupiterian energies to balance that out. And we'll get into that later in the future, of course. But I think, for the most part, this concludes like this session. And this is like the first session, you know what I'm saying? Then I'll do the second session, in which we'll cover Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. Alright, peace. Talk to you soon.